Awesome. Tonight's event is being recorded and also live streamed on the Griffith Institute's YouTube channel. You can catch rebroadcasts for any parts you may miss. In case of an emergency, the exits are over the wings. No, the exits are in the corners of the auditorium space and the rear double door exits. If you hear an alarm, please follow the emergency exit placards to the nearest exit, and just be aware of where you can exit the building this evening. There are stairwells throughout that you can find your way. There's multiple ways to exit the building if you need it, and you can find any of us with these lanyards. We'll be helping in case of any event of anything we need to direct you towards. So welcome everyone to the Innovari Center. Those are sort of our housekeeping items for tonight. Our program's going to be in right now. The first person I get to introduce is our MC for this evening's event, Ms. Heather Hage. So at this time, let's welcome Heather to the stage. Get this started. You want to hold it?
You have to do what the man in the ascot says. It's very impressive. And Seth, there's going to be no fires tonight, so don't worry about the exits, because the only fire is coming off the teams. Ow! Who are going to pitch tonight. All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here with us. Seth introduced me, so you know who I am, and I'm thrilled that you're here. HUSTLE stands for, can you hear me okay? Do I need to get closer? I'm always too short. This is the first time the microphone is at my face. HUSTLE stands for Helping Upstate Science and Technology Leaders and Entrepreneurs. And why do we do this? Why is helping upstate science and technology leaders and entrepreneurs in our heads, in our hearts, here every day at Innovari Advancement Center? That's because the Griffith Institute and all of you who are here with us tonight are on a mission to develop the next generation of STEM talent and defense technologies that can make our world a better, safer place. So first thing I want to do is thank you for showing up tonight. Thank you for supporting these teams. Thank you for judging. Thank you for participating and for championing science, research, technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship here in upstate New York. Big message number one. Thank you. Second thing, another reason this program is so special and so important to us is because it's really built on partnership and built on volunteerism. We are mission-driven and community-driven here. The partnership that we share with our colleagues at the Air Force Research Laboratory Information Directorate, right across the street, at the New York State Division of Science, Technology, and Innovation, at NYSTAR, at National Grid, as well as the dozens of mentors, speakers, entrepreneurs in residence, instructors, tour hosts, application evaluators, and the team here at the Griffith Institute, all of whom work together to make this program a success. I want to say thank you to all of you, so thank you. On the note of volunteers, I want to point out a couple of folks who gave a tremendous amount of fully discretionary effort to help this summer's program be a success, and I'll do them quickly, but all of the following folks are from the Air Force Research Laboratory Information Directorate: Crystal Baker, Mike Granero, Matt Cohan, Denise Lee, Anthony Macera, Rachel Mann, Anthony Newton, Karen Roth, Julie Brickachek, Dr. Bryant Wysocki, Dr. Lauren Hui-Seversky, Richard Metzger, Nate Rowe, Lee Seversky, Scott Shine, and Greg Zagar. If you think it doesn't take a village to make things like this happen, it does. And then in addition, other folks from the community: Pat Baskinger from AX Enterprise and MC Krzyzewski, also from AX, Grant Fox, the director of Ensign, the National Security Innovation Network, Mr. Charles Green, President and CEO of AIS, Brian Haydick from Enterprise Solutions Lumen, Courtney Olson from NICETech, Carrie Paleo from the Greater Utica Chamber of Commerce, and Shannon Roger from NICETech. All of these folks participated in the down select and review processes that was an incredibly arduous and labor-intensive effort. So I want to say I see some of you all over here, so thank you for making that happen. It's very much appreciated. Now some dignitaries. We have some very fancy people with us tonight. So I mentioned first our board chair, Patricia Baskinger, the president and CEO of AX Enterprise, as well as our immediate, there she is, hello Madam Chair, as well as our immediate past board chair, Jerry Caprero, who I just saw a moment ago. I mentioned MC Krashicki, in addition to her duties at AX Enterprise, is also the executive director of the Central New York Defense Alliance that advocates and lobbies on behalf of our region. Colonel Fred Garcia, where are you, Colonel? There you are in the back. Hello, sir. The director of the Air Force Research Laboratory, Information Directorate, and Commander Detachment 4 here in Rome, New York. Mr. Charles Green, President and CEO of AIS. There you are, Mr. Green. Thank you. Also a member of the Griffiths Institute Board of Directors. Dr. Michael Haydick, Deputy Director at Air Force Research Laboratory, Information Director. Welcome to you, sir. Josh Perlman. Where are you, Josh? I just saw him a moment ago. The Central New York Regional Director for United States Senate Majority Leader Charles E. Schumer, as well as, again, Dr. Bryant Wysocki, who also served as a volunteer, the United States Air Force Technical Advisor for Command, Control, Communications, Computing, Intelligence, and Cyber at the Air Force Research Lab. So welcome, folks, and thank you for all you do to champion our causes and be great partners. Now, before we get cracking on the pitches, the main event that we're all here to see, there are a couple of other folks who would like to say hello and welcome you to the region, welcome you to Innovari Advancement Center. And so I'd like to begin with my first special guest, Rome, New York's very own mayor, one of our best champions, absolute partner who shows up for us every day in every way at the Air Force Research Laboratory Information Directorate here at Innovari Advancement Center, and for everything that happens here at Griffiths and in Rome, our own mayor, Ms. Jackie Izzo.
Thank you, Heather. Good evening, everyone. How are you? I know this has been a long journey. I want to say thank you to the teams for being here. Regardless of what happens tonight, everybody is a winner here. Just to get to this point, to make this pitch, and possibly walk out with some money, it's fantastic. But you know what? Your idea will still survive, and you still have the opportunity to keep it moving. This is a really important seminar, let's say, or learning experience that we each year have here at Innovari, because it brings in such great talent from all over the country. And we have the opportunity to show off our research laboratory, our world-class scientists and research engineers, and the wonderful things that are happening at the lab. And I don't think anybody realizes the research that goes on here, right here in Rome, New York. And of course, this beautiful Innovari. This campus has become more than we ever thought it could be, and a lot of that is due to Heather and her energy and the rest of the Innovari staff, the Griffiths Institute, and so thank you very much. So I certainly cannot weigh in and pick a team. However, one of these teams just handed me a Rome Economic Impact Plan to establish the space industry in the Mohawk Valley. So guess what? My new favorite team is from Patterson Aerospace Systems. Have a great night.
Very smooth. Where's Kaylin? Very smooth, Patterson Aerospace Systems. Introducing bias into the process. All right, thank you, Mayor. That was beautiful, and thank you for all that you do for us. Next up, I would love to welcome our dear friend, also an incredible champion for us and for all things science and education here in the Mohawk Valley region, Ms. Marianne Buttonshaw, our Assemblywoman representing the 119th District. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Heather, to the Griffiths Institute, all the partners, Colonel Garcia, everyone that is here. The partnership starts with the leadership, and as you look on these beautiful openings to tell us what hustle is, that is Heather in the middle. So she posed for it, and I'm not going to tell you the other two what judges they are, but to our mayor that talks about the importance of a plan for the future of the city, Again, what a great partner. You're always here for us, so thank you, Mayor. I really appreciate it. AFRL and so many others, our chambers. We're glad you're here. Welcome to the 119th Assembly District, as it's one that I have the honor and privilege to represent, and this is one of the great things that happens. These judges look great, so don't get worried at all. They've had a little bit to eat, and they got some water. I think they're going to try to push some Saranac on them, so soon they'll be in good shape. But again, I can't thank you enough, the academic partnerships as well as the partnerships that we see throughout many of the different companies that are here to make sure that the work that you put forward, just listening to the names of your companies is impressive. I mean, just determining that. I got to meet with some of you. I wish you all the best. I look forward to future work that you will be completing and more through the Griffiths Institute. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
Anybody notice the fierce female trio, just one after another, up here at the mic? I mean, I think that's pretty cool. If I do say so myself. Okay, so what does HUSTLE stand for? I said it at the outset, right? Helping upstate science and technology leaders and entrepreneurs. And what does that mean? It means an elite and immersive experience here at Innovar Advancement Center every summer for seed stage tech startups pushing artificial intelligence and machine learning, cybersecurity, uncrewed aerial systems, and quantum information sciences solutions with dual use potential to influence both how the Department of Defense does its business and drive innovation that can help support our warfighters, and those solutions that can also be used for commercial purposes to help our country get stronger and more economically competitive. So the teams that you're about to see were immersed in the rich culture and legacy of innovation here in the Mohawk Valley while learning all that they need to know about working with the defense enterprise, which is not uncomplicated. I'm sure many folks in the room can testify, while they continue to build their business models and customer bases. So over the next hour, each team is going to have no more than 10 minutes to deliver his or her pitch and answer any questions posed by these very serious-looking judges right down in the front. And our timekeeper, Mr. John Liddy, right here in the middle, and thank you, John, will keep us running properly. And just before I introduce our judges, I do want to give, as a very special thank you to our team here at Griffiths Institute, Dan Fayette, our subject matter expert, Mr. Seth Mulligan, the guy in the ascot who's just adorable and so smart, Dory Placido, our project analyst, and John Liddy, our entrepreneur in residence. Thank you for all you have done to support these teams this summer. All right, now for the judges. No pressure, because all the money is in their hands, so it's no big deal. First off, Mr. Matthew Moroz, Vice President, Industry and External Affairs at the State University of New York Research Foundation. Welcome, Matthew. It's a very nice title that you have there. Ms. Jennifer Blast Doyle, Technical Advisor of Cyber at the Air Force Operational Test and Evaluation Center, all the way from Florida, Eglin Air Force Base. Thank you so much, Blast, for making the trip here to New York. We appreciate you. Heidi Knobloch, PhD, Interim Director at the Division of Science and Technology and Innovation at ESD, better known as NISTAR. Thank you so much, Heidi, for making the trip out from Albany. Brad Banikowski, Investment Manager at the Tech Garden from Syracuse. Thank you so much for making the trip from Syracuse. And you got John right in the middle, who's going to help us keep time. So thank you, judges, for making the time. Thank you for doing this incredible service to help us figure out how to invest in the right ways and the right companies at the right time. And good luck to all the incredible teams. Without further ado, here we go. We're going to proceed with the teams in alphabetical order. And first up, we have Mr. Greg Bush from Accessible Automation. Greg, come on up. Your time is there on the clock. Good luck.
Okay. You get to keep that. All right. Good afternoon. My name's Greg Bush, and this is my wife, Amy. Together, we've been co-founders of Accessible Automation. I'm a graduate of SUNY Brockport and an Army veteran, and Amy is a graduate from MVCC. Our journey started kind of special. A few years ago, unfortunately, we had a house fire. A group was coming to our house to actually practice for a robotic competition. They said, hey, do you know your roof is on fire? And unfortunately, they weren't kidding. But the good thing is nobody got hurt, and it also gave me an opportunity to go and do a lot of renovations on the house, which I always wanted to do. And one was the heating system in our house. Very inefficient and hot and cold all over the place. So I went off looking for the new smart tech. Well, the thing that I found out that all the thermostats on the market require wires going from the thermostat down to the furnace. And what I looked at is in my house, because I was doing a lot of zones, it's like over 800 feet of wire. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to get in today's technology. So that's how we came up with this idea of eliminating that, is going wireless from your thermostat down to your furnace and being able to talk to that and control it remotely. Now what that does is that gives you the opportunity to move around and relocate your thermostat depending on whether you're a season of hot or cold. If you have a warm or cold spot in the house, you could be able to relocate it. Then in the process, it came up with the idea of that you can now sense things further away. Like if you're in the, have a pump house and you want to keep that from freezing, you can have a sensor out there monitoring things that are further away. And the best part of the system is you can do over-the-air updates, so you wouldn't have, if you buy a new system, you don't have to go out, or you add onto the system like another sensor or whatever. You don't have to go out and buy a whole new system, just program it over the air and redo it. Now, what I did is basically based on the Internet of Things. But the challenge with the Internet of Things is that if you're in upstate New York and the internet goes down and that's controlling your furnace, well, you've got a problem. So what I've done is I've gone and embedded some intelligence in what would be the gateway and morphed it from being a gateway to the main controller. But then as we started doing our customer evaluation, we came up with a lot more applications, and by the fact that we have intelligence in the end device, we can then download it and program and add different sensors to many different applications. So this is where we sat. We started out focusing on residential and commercial heating and air conditioning. But then through customer development, we found agricultural applications. And then the Army actually was talking with us about doing a remote detection, long distance, which is things capable of doing. And the more we started talking with people, the more that we can apply this system to, this long-range communication system to. And then you look at it, it's over, just with between the HVAC and the agricultural, it's over $30 billion a year in revenue. And we have a game plan that over the next 5 years to penetrate 0.5% of the market, which then that gives us a lot of money, almost $150 million, $150 million in gross revenue. And then to begin with, again, we're starting up at a 10% 10% profit margin. That's still $15 million in profit. And the goal is through economy of scale to grow to 30%. We're not reinventing and creating a market though. We're taking what's there, what everybody else is doing, and expanding on it, making it truly wireless. So you have control. You can move things around and upgrade it and do what you want. So this is a very conservative plan on how to start over the next few years to build into that market penetration between direct marketing. Every HVAC company I've talked with, the actual people that do the work went, when can you get this to us? They love this. I haven't yet had one person say, what, really? Okay. So my next 2-year plan is within 2 months, I'm going to have the beta version out on the market for test marketing. And following up with that, by next September, next May, we should have a regular full commercial version out. And during the same time frame, we're going to be pursuing after the Army doing a SBIR for doing that long-range detection that they talked to me about. But as they said, you can't do this by yourself. I have a working relationship with Trenton Systems in Utica for doing the circuit board and population. Brink Manufacturing for doing the housing and the different fixtures for that. And Progress Industries, which is ARC, which is in Utica for doing the final assembly and put together. My time is out, so I'm going to skip right to the end, please. Back up one. And so we are here to put things into Central New York. And the bottom line is, with Accessible Lane, we're creating local jobs to go and employ the overlooked, underutilized resources of Central New York. Thank you for your time. Do you have any questions?
Thank you very
Can't
much,
tell I'm
Greg.
not a public speaker.
That's okay. The judges will now have 5 minutes to ask questions. Judges, make sure you put your mic on when you're going to ask.
What will you do with the money from Hustle tonight?
Very good question. We expected that. That will help us pay for getting the underwriting portion of it, because part of it has to be UL listed, and also getting to the marketable product, and also to bolster the online marketing and getting all that part of it up and running.
Thank you.
From your customer discovery, you have a lot of possibilities. So when you were talking with customers, what do you think your beachhead market is? Who are you going to go after first?
I wanted to continue plowing the road for the thermostat, because that gets the entire pathway of everything done, from the automatic upgrades to the communication to the data storage. And then every other market is just changing what goes on in the end. So that's the fastest way. You know, you're 2/3 of the way down this row, you finish it. But then literally you'd be spinning out more products about every 2 months.
How do you plan to sell this? Like, what distribution channels are you going to use?
Thank you very much. I've already talked with, we've started a website. There will be some direct marketing. There's already 3 local HVAC companies that are willing to market this for us and are for installing it. And also the 2 main distributors locally, once we get it UL approved, are willing to market it for us.
Do you have a prototype that you're currently using? I know you said you have a beta coming up, but is there something you're using at home? Has anyone else used the system already?
I have a breadboard system of it. That was part of the system of it. I have it functioning to go to the website. So it's like 3/4 of the way done now. And the best part, it's not costly, it's just time. Yes, sir.
What would be the size of this device in anybody's house, and where would it go? Would it go in the basement, on the wall?
Okay, for the thermostat application, the thermostat on the wall, there'll be a couple different versions of that, just like when you go to Home Depot. The idea is to not retrain the market, to keep that the same. And then on the furnace or someplace in that, if they're not doing thermostat or furnace control, if they're just using it for other things, it's approximately 6 inches by 9 inches by 3 inches deep.
So I'm going to push you a little bit.
Sure.
So I asked you who your beachhead market customer was, and you answered me with a product. So who's your customer?
Beachhead product, customer.
Yeah, who's the
customer? Would be do you want a specific company name, or are you looking for just like the?
Whatever you think. Just who's your customer?
Okay, new home development and remodelers, because that's when they have it open and they're redoing it. But also people that are looking, like my driveway is 750 feet long, and I want to monitor who's coming in the driveway. I don't want to run 750 feet of wire, so I can have a sensor out there and tell me there. So people who want to do distance sensing also.
Can you talk a little bit about the DoD project and what they're asking of you?
Oh, yes, because it was an open air. I have a background that you have to be careful of that. They approached me, can this thing travel 25 kilometers? Now, being the U.S. citizen, I went, oh, sure. How far is 25 kilometers? That's 15.5 miles. They've done tests over in Europe where they've done weather balloon to weather balloon, so you're not dealing with the curvature of the Earth, and it literally went 250 miles. That's nice for them, but I want to do a real-world application. So the idea is to be able to monitor for an inbound threat, be it ground or air, and then notify the base when there's an issue, and then they can send a signal back to eliminate the threat. To your wall unit? The wall unit would be equivalent of on the base, and the end device would actually be, because there is two-way communication, just not, back is not a large, but they just basically want to say, blow it out. Yes?
So have you your background's Army. Have you done any development of projects in the past that you've delivered to the field?
Not with the military. I've been in R&D for over 30 years for Kodak, Corning, General Motors. So I've done a lot of taking from the concept of like a PhD and getting it into the world. So even some medical devices.
Thank you very much, Greg. Nice job.
Thank you.
Did I break it? Is it working? Okay, I can't hear anything. Okay, thank you, Amy and Greg. That was amazing. Next up, we have Mehdi Salehi with Drone City. Come on up and take it away. Big round of applause for Drone City.
Can you hear me, Joe?
We got you.
All right.
Whenever you're ready.
Test. Hi, I'm Mehdi Saleh, and I'm the founder of Drone City. We're developing a multi-domain system to enable secure, reliable, safe, and trusted uncrewed autonomous systems. Our journey began in 2014 from Brooklyn, New York, and we pivoted along the way. We're SAM and NICE registered, FAA certified, MBA business. We have five provisional patents and 1 trademark so far, and we design and build everything in-house in our lab in New York City. We have won 6 awards for various drone applications so far. I've taught at 2 commercial universities in New York City since 2014 to 400 students, and some of them got their FAA licenses. We have worked with various clients. We offered drone services for various clients, and one of our projects got some media attention in 2016. We know drones. So through our experience, we have identified a critical issue in the drone industry. Solving this problem is essential for the safe integration of drones into the airspace. To unlock the full potential of drones for consumers, we must incorporate reliable communication, cybersecurity, and ensured safety. We have validated our thoughts through customer discovery process after talking to numerous people from defense and commercial sectors. We saw on the news that Google drone crashed due to self-awareness issues. Eric Schmidt, the ex-CEO of Google, said last month that Russians use cyber warfare to disable 10,000 drones every month. We have a solution. We call this sophisticated piece of technology the Navigational Decision-Making System. It uses computer vision and AI ML for object detection, classification, and avoidance. It uses AI for flight path optimization. It establishes aerial mesh network, transmits telemetry data via cellular network, uses satellite communication, and it has ADS-B sensor. It enables connectivity, intelligence, autonomy, redundancy, and safety. It's compatible for all unmanned systems, for all sizes, portable and lightweight, plug-and-play, multi-domain. Its mesh networking capability interconnects diverse autonomous systems, drones, cars, boats, robots, and satellites. More domains mean more data, better decisions, safer, lower cost, and so on. This powerful technology combines billions of dollars worth of defense and commercial tech along with years of effort into one compact package. This also represents the future of unmanned systems connectivity. Because without collecting synergy and connectivity, even the most advanced systems will have limitations. Because of those characteristics, our drone brain has a competitive advantage over other existing companies out there. There's a rockstar team behind this magic. We have a drone engineer, AI/ML engineer, aerospace engineer, cybersecurity, software, network engineers, UX designer. We have one advisor with 30 years in aerospace and defense, and one advisor that raised over $30 million from NSF and other organizations. We've had partners in the past, and over the summer we established new collaborations. We initiated a tech transfer process for a segment of our systems development, and we will test different scenarios in collaboration with the AFRL and IoT Lab. With this DoD relationship, we'll enhance our capabilities. We're targeting the commercial and defense sectors. We will leverage our history, relationships, and traction using these partners and clients as our early adopters. As these early adopters integrate our technology into their operations, we will demonstrate its value across various use cases and showcase those successes to new customers. We have designed multiple methods to ensure customer retention. We're going to make money by subscription and sales in the beginning, and we'll take it from there as customers start integrating the system into their operations. These are a 5-year projection based on revenue streams, costs, and other factors. We already made an impact in New York State. We hired upstate New York, sorry. We hired 2 new engineers from upstate New York, one an aerospace engineer, one AI/ML engineer. We're going to relocate one full-time engineer from New York City to Mohawk Valley. We're going to relocate one part-time engineer from New York City to Mohawk Valley. We're going to relocate our digital fabrication and prototyping lab from New York City to Mohawk Valley. We initiated the CRADA process and tech transfer. We're going to use investment for business expenses to build a commercially viable product and commercialization. We're going to attract more investments. We're looking for an office space to relocate here in Mohawk Valley. Please, if you know anything, let me know at the end of the event. We're looking for sponsorship and partnerships. We're looking for talent, 1 marketing talent, 1 robotics engineer, and 1 mechanical engineer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mehdi. The judges will now have 5 minutes for questions. Blas, do you want to start?
Hi there. I was a little bit confused. Is it a component that fits on multiple types of drones? Like a brain? It looks like there was a lot of stuff going on, but it looked like you were highlighting a small unit, not a drone itself.
It's a small unit that we have been designing, building, and operating drones for years, but there was a missing point that we face ourselves, but there's a lack in the market, both in defense and commercial. And we call it a navigational decision-making system, or the brain. And so it doesn't really matter how smart the drone is. If it's on its own, it's kind of useless. The battery life is kind of limited and all of that. So if you have a fleet of connected drone through mesh networking capabilities, and also utilize AI/ML for a lot of different connectivities, you make this fleet a stronger fleet, and you make better decisions by all the real-time data that you're gathering from different locations. You also never lose signal to your drone. Currently, let's say the Google drone, they use a point-to-point system, communication system. They usually crash. Amazon crashed a few times also, and that's a very common thing. You know, if you have obstacles and other things on your way, the communication drops. But the best way to go is this brain. It uses mesh networking. It doesn't matter if you have obstacles on the way. It always finds a way to heal that network and connect to the next available drone in the sky. And that's only one part of it. There's a cellular network for extended connectivity. If all fails, then it will connect to the satellite. So there's no way for the system to fail. So this unit basically makes as redundant as possible and makes all drones way safer than what it is right now. And I know that safety is a really big issue. People are afraid of drones because of the safety, right? In the US, safety is a big deal. One reason that in China, the Chinese were able to just don't care about safety too much and keep going with blasting and building drones and selling to the world, they were able to keep going, but we have had some issues with safety, and that's why we're trying to focus on safety aspect of this and take it from there. Sorry for the long response.
So I'm a little confused. Are you selling a hardware component? I heard you say subscription sales in there. So are you? From what I understand, it's a hardware component with a bunch of sensors on it. Are you selling it and then charging for the services?
I think the best way to approach our existing partners is to offer them, give them with a subscription fee so they can try it. They load it on their airframes and take it from there to make it easier for them also. A model that is easier for them to trust and start using it. And from there, based on their operations and the feedback they give, we will provide better service and then start selling and finding other methods to charge money for it.
So it's a leasing model of the unit, and then
for the beginning, yes.
Services are free?
Well, that's another way to make money. You can charge with software, you can charge with renting, you can charge for subscription, you can sell the unit. Now for sale, for example, for a commercial drone, it's going to be cheaper. For defense, it's, because of other redundancy measures and the quality of the build and all of that, you can actually increase the price a little bit higher.
That's fine. I just want to know what models you're initially going to sell through.
Yeah, subscription I think is the best way to go for the beginning, to gain trust with customers. Thank you.
What was the primary thing you learned from your customer discovery?
Safety, connectivity, these were really big issue from the beginning of the time until today. Drones are very smart right now. They can fly on their own. They're very good. But again, when it comes to connectivity, there is always an issue, and that was concerned both from defense and commercial sectors.
How are you incorporating that feedback into the product that you were going to develop?
Incorporating their feedback?
Yes.
Well, it's going to be a long process. We're going to offer this as subscription sales or rental, any model that we have. We have a relationship with those already. They're going to use it. We're going to keep with upgrades, the software upgrades. We're going to get their feedback, and then we're going to do the upgrades and make it better. And yep.
So you started with a very big problem, drone safety. I just want to give you an opportunity to articulate a problem that your customer is having that you can solve with your product.
Communication is the biggest issue.
Okay. And then you had a feature slide. And you didn't know this, but I hate feature slides because features are not what makes a business successful. Addressing a problem that your customer has makes a product successful. So if you could just, I think, are any of those features tied to a problem that you heard articulated in your customer discovery?
Communication, we flew drones ourselves. We started delivery tests to 15 homes last year, and communication always has been a problem. The moment your drone hovers over a house and it lowers down to deliver the package, you lost the signal. You're a few miles away, you have obstacles, trees, buildings, and all of that, and then you lose the connection. So communication is always a problem. Now, even for more advanced companies that has been in the delivery, for example, Amazon or Google, they have the same problem. Communication is the biggest problem right now for drones.
Okay,
Thank you, Mehdi.
Yeah, and lack of communication means not really safe drones. So that's I think our priority and based our.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice
Thank
job.
you so much.
Nice job. Nice job. Round of applause for Drone City. And up next, where is Abhishek Chopra from Bosun Q Sai? Take it away, please, Abhishek.
Awesome. Can everybody hear me? Yes, sir. Awesome. Thank you. Hello everyone, myself Abhishek Chopra. I'm the founder and CEO of Boson QSci, and let me take you to the journey of quantum CAE world. Computer-aided engineering, or CAE, is an important tool in many different industries, all the way from automotive to aerospace to many different industries. Here you see an example of a crash simulation, aerodynamic testing, but this is just present everywhere. On the top right, you will see an example of aerodynamic testing. This was a simulation that I was actually doing back in RPI, where I did my grad school. This was being run on 250,000 computers, and even with that much computational power, it took about 6 months to do this kind of simulation. So these simulations can get very expensive very quickly. They are complex, expensive, and time-consuming. And the reason for that is we are using outdated methods, the methods that were developed in 80s on evolving systems. Now, this opens up a market which is underserved. 78% of the simulations that industries would like to perform cannot be done today. This opens up a market which is close to $75 billion and rapidly increasing to close to $200 billion. Now, with advent of quantum computing, this is where BQP want to make its mark with our simulation software, BQ5. So BQ5, the difference is that it is a simulation software which is integrated with quantum algorithm or quantum math behind it. So what it means that we can do simulations on today's system, but do that faster, better, economical, and do that by 10x. So this is where we come into picture. With quantum computers getting mature, when they would be ready, we can do these simulations 1000x more better and give performance improvements. So now, let me take you to a case study that we did with a big automotive giant, Maruti Suzuki. This was on their part called as control arm, and the goal here was to reduce the material and make the part more lightweight. We did that simulation through our software BQ5, and the results were compared against the classical simulation software, and we achieved 7% more weight reduction. That's almost saving about $500,000 of material saving for just this component at 1/8 of the cost. Now the car does not have just one component. There are thousands of components in a car, and if we are doing these simulations right now where we are scaling up to vehicle level, and we can save about $250 million for a company like Maruti Suzuki. But we are working with a lot of these big names right now in the ecosystem. So likes of Airbus, right here from the region we have Moog, BorgWarner, Air Force Research Lab, and we have also signed one 3-wheeler EV company already where we are working on reducing the weight of their vehicle. So now with this, we also are working very close with the defense sector. What you don't see in the slide is a cooperative agreement and a BA that we are doing with Army Research Lab. We are in discussion with them for that. So how are we going to generate money? It's an enterprise SaaS model, which is pay per use. The ticket sizes range anywhere between $250K to $500K, and the go-to-market strategies include some of the names which you're already working with, including Ansys, Siemens, and SimScale. This is not possible without a strong team. Myself, I've developed these kind of simulation software, first on CPUs, then on GPUs, before starting BQP, and that I did with Oak Ridge National Lab and NVIDIA. Ruth, my co-founder, he has worked with US Air Force and DoD contractors building simulation tools with them. John Siriani, who's our commercial officer, has sold these back in Pratt & Whitney in 80s and 90s and did a lot of the quantum work in recent 5 years. We are a proud Western New York based company with operations going globally, and we also we have subject matter experts coming from with PhDs and masters. Now, the journey is long for us. We are just commercializing the first module, and then we have a lot of R&D going in. That's where the big ticket prize is, I would say. And all of this R&D effort we want to do right here in Rome, New York. We are already proved ourselves with DARPA, where we have done work on quantum classical fluid dynamics with them. And the next inline goal is to set up a center of excellence where we want to invite the best PhDs and researchers all over from the US right here in New York. And the most important thing, we have a vision, and we have already started working on that vision to set up a thriving ecosystem of quantum right here in upstate New York, and we are working with the partners that are shown here. Thank you everyone for patiently listening, and I'm open to any questions.
Thank you, Abhi. We'll start with Heidi this time.
I'm not taking the bait, John. So if you could just talk a little bit about the use of quantum computers that you need in order to do this, where the quantum computers are that you would use now, and I'll lay it up, and what the Center of Excellence is in Rome, New York.
Awesome. So the most interesting part that we are doing right now is we are doing all of this simulations that I've shown without having a quantum computer. This is purely quantum math that is running on today's HPC systems. When the quantum computers are ready, and we are doing that continuous effort, we have a lot of R&D that we are doing with IBM. We have a test bed that we want to make a test bed right downstairs in the quantum lab, use that as a test bed to test out the algorithms that are coming and see where we are. The biggest we have done is a crash simulation of a car on an IBM system. We have done that on AWS. But for everybody, for audience to know about this, the quantum computers don't reside at anybody's place. They're all available through cloud, and that's how we are accessing it today, and we will be accessing that in future. It is part of the high performance heterogeneous architecture, how you have CPUs, GPUs, and then QPUs. So QPUs will become the part of it, and that's how the world will move. It will never be just quantum. So that's the world we believe in. And hence the Center of Excellence in New York, like I mentioned, the roadmap for us is quite long. Development of algorithms, new algorithms are very critical to this. So we have partial differential equation which we would be solving with quantum algorithms, and that is what requires tremendous amount of effort. We require top researchers coming from these domains, and then also we require the people who will actually implement this and test this. And the reason why we want to do that in New York, because a lot of our funding that we are working with the defense sector will be coming from here, and also the test bed that is downstairs, we want to start utilizing that.
Who is your competition, and how does your solution compare to them?
That's a great question. It's a very new technology because quantum computer came into mainstream 2019. World is still figuring out, CAE world I should say, still figuring out what is quantum. So that makes us a leader in the market, but we have one direct competition in Finland, which is a company working on more electromagnetic side of things for semiconductor industry. So now the world is too early to tell that whether there is better or ours better, because quantum is not there. So we are still trying to map out how we can develop new algorithms which will start taking more power from GPUs and CPUs right now. So, but we work in collaboration with a lot of the other vendors like CAE, if I talk about ANSYS, PTC, Dassault, Siemens. These companies we have partnered with because they don't have a clue right now on where the quantum is, but we are making them look good in front of their stakeholders that we are bringing quantum, we are integrating our software into their backend and selling it.
So I'm trying to think of a couple questions. So your future looks like competitor is going to be CFD software. So what is your pricing model look like right now compared to what they're doing, especially given that you're potentially 10x better solution?
That's a great question. Actually, we want to move away from the traditional license model that the CAE world has been. It's not scalable in cloud because everything is going over cloud. The model that we are doing is how much you use is what you pay for. Meaning, if you are doing a very big simulation, does not matter CFD, structural, you will be utilizing more resources, we will be charging you for that. If you are doing a smaller simulation, we will be charging you less. So where the customer sees value is where we see value in our pricing. So that's how we are thinking about it.
So the Suzuki algorithm that you showed, is that the one performance example that you've done, or it's just an example of many?
It's so the algorithm is doing optimization and it could solve any number of problems. One I'm showing is which we can show without an NDA. So this is one of the examples. There are many examples out there that we have done with aerospace companies, automotive companies, and some are in process. The conceptual way of showing that on the left-hand side is the biggest one we are doing so far right now.
So far, your algorithms that you've been optimizing in simulation, are they mostly electromechanic? Have you done software simulations, speeding up time, et cetera?
So all the simulations that we are doing are in structural, thermal, and fluid domain. So that's the domain that we bring the expertise of. And yes, the algorithm is integrated into our software, which is giving this 10x improvement, as you can see here. It can range from 7%, maybe in some cases we have seen up to 11%. We did an airfoil optimization, and then we are doing a lot of these. Again, the application is where we thrive, we understand, but the uniqueness about our team is we understand the end user, and we can map that onto a quantum algorithm. But we don't have to redesign the quantum algorithm every time we do. We've designed one which can solve any optimization problem, as I showed in this slide. We can solve any partial differential equation with one algorithm, and these algorithms then sit back in the back end of the simulation software, and the software is just exactly what people are right now using.
Thank you, Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next up, where is Kambiz Gazanor from Cyberspara? Come on up, Cyberspara.
Thank you.
Round of
Thanks a
applause.
lot. Pardon me? Let's see. And I want to go over. Good job. Previous. That's Heather. Okay, sure. Can you hear me well, everyone? Yes, thank you. Okay, good evening, everyone. Oh my goodness. I'm Kambiz Ghazi-Noor, Professor of Cybersecurity and founder of CyberSpara. Today, I present to you Digital Pass. We've been spending trillions of dollars over improving our security tools for the past several decades, encryption models, you name it, right? But why we're still losing $16 billion a day for cybercrime, okay? Well, it turns out that bad guys, hackers, are mostly interested to get the information directly from us rather than hacking a server. It's much easier, to be honest with you. I'm guilty. Anyway, so we have created scenarios. For instance, Robin Sage, it's a good example. Fake account, in 28 days, collected hundreds of information from military personnel, service members, contractors, government employees, right? They even sent her documents to review. It was a fake account. Or military personnel, they didn't know, they were unaware, so they used Fitbits, I'm sure you've heard about it, disclosed a lot of information, sensitive information. Unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago, I Googled it. It was really fast. Everything just came up. I really don't have to convince my audience. A couple of weeks ago, our healthcare system got under attack. A few weeks before that, our schools. So it's a national security matter at this point, okay? You would think one of the things to do is to limit use of social media, okay? It turns out that actually Department of Defense encourages use of social media. And at the same time, they put guidelines after guidelines after guidelines to how to use the social media properly. The problem is, unfortunately, there is no real tool to raise awareness, to teach and everything. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, wait a minute, I see people nod, we all go through trainings, okay? But when our team did customer discovery, over 250 people, it's the first time in my life when 100% of people said they hate it, it's ineffective, it's not doing anything, it's repetitive, and that's where digital privacy and security simulator Digital Pass comes to play. Digital Pass is a web-based platform. It mimics social media. You log in, you're assigned an account, you interact with the platform. It's AI enabled, so the AI throws scenarios at you. There is no pop quiz, there is no paragraphs to read, there is no video, nothing. And as you're going through this, actually the interesting part is with even one round of play, which takes 5 to 10 minutes, we've noticed 30% increase in cyber awareness, okay? We went one step beyond and we let people be hackers, bad guys. Everyone loves to do that for some weird reason. And then that was very, very successful. Obviously, we collect data, so we provide data to the person and also the admin in that system. This solution can be applicable to a wide range of markets, obviously, but the markets we were immediately looking at was education. Well, not only educating, schoolers, next generation of workforce, but also looking at government agencies, DoD, and as you can imagine, it's a big market right there, okay? We are closely watching our competitors. Whenever they're acquired, 4.2 billion, 22 million, we're watching them, we are aware of our advantage. How do we make money? Well, it's a web-based platform, so we sell license, the content, the scenario is customized, AFRL is different from other ones, for instance. We do data analysis, that is a huge, huge money bringer, and then other things. For instance, Air Force is interested to see how we can use our engine for information warfare in Pelaez, New Mexico. These are really, really good things. Our prediction is $20 million in 5 years, and let me tell you how we get there. We have the support from BOCES, 37 locations. Griffith is our client. Kent State is followed. Last week we had AFRL. Last year we had our CRADA with AFRL, and that's going very well. Obviously, we have more people to get there. How do we use the money? Mostly commercialization. We've already committed. We've already hired from Mohawk Valley. We are moving our headquarters to Mohawk Valley, and we've done really a lot. We just received $50K from SUNY, and this is our amazing diverse team. All of them but one is from New York State, and I'm really, really delighted to work with these folks. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tanvi. I think we got to start over with you.
Start with me because cyber's my thing.
Oh, absolutely. And then, by the way, you can scan the QR code if you want to try the platform. Thank you.
So let me get this straight. This is training, and then we are analyzing people's interaction with the training to see if we did better than, Bob.
Excellent. And we can generate certificate for them at the end, like the current trainings that we have.
So is that the data that you're analyzing, is how well they behave in a social engineering environment? Or you're not analyzing systems and networks or anything like that?
No, we're not analyzing systems. This is purely focused on human, which is the weakest link in security.
Absolutely.
We've spent trillions of dollars on tools, and every day, as you know, new tools pop up, which is great. We're not saying that's not important, but hey, let's focus on the human. You're absolutely right, spot on. And I can even tell you why we came up with that 30% increase, because I know that might be even a question.
And to follow on real quick, so
Absolutely.
Great, looks like a great team. Have you guys delivered as a group in the past? Is everyone just done individual projects separately?
No,
and you came together for this?
This is a good group. It happened during COVID as well, and we are part of the NSA Center of Excellence for Academic Cyber Defense, we call it, NSA CAD. So all these people are either with cybersecurity major, those who need to be in cybersecurity. Some of them were my own students from the research lab and everything we did, and some other ones, for instance, in UI UX. That was one of the important things. We need to make sure we have experts in UI UX. I can design a UI UX. I need someone who knows exactly what they're doing. Thank you.
Thanks. You kind of blew past the slide with the competitors.
Yes.
Can you tell me how you're differentiated from them and
Absolutely, yes.
especially how you're better?
I don't want to spend too much time on it, but here it goes back. Yep. Okay. Come on. There we go. Okay, so our competitors, these are indirect competitors, most of them, okay? For instance, KnowBe4. I'm sure some of you know that. It's a company that tests spams and phishing. So it randomly sends email to people in an organization to see who clicks on that, okay? But this is not really preventative. This is just it's a gotcha model, which I personally don't like it really. We have to be preventative. We have to come up with preventative solutions. It was bought this February for $4.2 billion by Vista. It's a software company, as you know. Curricula produces videos, just videos. Got acquired by Huntress, another cybersecurity company, for $22 million last July. We are monitoring them. Common Sense is used a lot in the education platform across the board. So these are all indirect competitors. None of them, when we look at our value proposition, none of them really address the problem.
So none of them are a simulated environment?
No.
Okay.
Simulated environments, if I may add one sentence to that, simulated environments have been used in, for instance, my colleagues at Carnegie Mellon use that for computer science majors, or they've been used in teaching math or Naval Base, actually, postgraduate school, used that years ago to train network admins. It's been very, very specific for very, very particular purpose. This is the first time, and since our platform is independent from the content, that's why I said it has solution. We can take it to healthcare, train HIPAA folks. I'm sure you know the rest. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Could you talk about what this is going to look like when we're no longer scrolling on our phones or looking at a screen, but rather in kind of a VR space?
Oh, that's good. That's why I added VR right there. Thank you for noticing that. That's why I added VR there, because this is, without getting too technical, I'm sorry, I'm a professor of cybersecurity, so it's very easy for me to get into that trap. I try not to. What happens is, this is an engine. The engine can have different skins, can have different mediums, right? So we've already looking to see how we can introduce OpenAI, aka ChatGPT, in this. Because even in this current version, every time you run it, it's different. It's not the same repetitive training models that we take and we already know what's going to come next. That's not the case, right? So VR can easily be adopted to it because it's an engine independent from the platform. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Combies.
Thank you so much.
Big round of applause. Nice job, sir. As always. Round of applause for Imagine Aerial, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi. Okay. Is this working? Yep. All good? Okay. Hi, I'm Gavin Snyder, and I'm the founder and CEO at Imagine Aerial. Imagine Aerial is a drone and AI data company, and we're changing how America maintains its critical infrastructure. Our drones are deployed with advanced sensors to rapidly and safely assess any type of critical infrastructure or asset. This massive inspection shown over 1 million square foot facility pictured here was reduced from a 1-month assessment schedule to under 3 days utilizing our technology. Early detection is critical, so we use a dozen different advanced sensors that are drone mounted to see hidden issues that typically can't be seen in traditional inspection. The problem we address is reactive infrastructure maintenance. It's costly and often ends badly. It's in the news this week. America is a world leader, but our infrastructure is ranked a dismal 13th worldwide. In my 30 years of architecture, I've seen the same century-old problems over and over of reactive and dangerous methods used to inspect critical infrastructure. Sadly, people are literally dying to maintain American infrastructure. In our solution, we deploy drones safely from the ground to collect micro-level surface and subsurface data. We process that data rapidly through AI, delivering it direct to client workflows. Our patentable IP is fully developed, and we have a cloud-based subscription software under development right now for release in 2024. Our work is periodic, proactive, and patterned, and therefore our IP is now providing scientifically predictive results. Our results are transformational. This public housing outside of New York City got a new facade and a renewed 40-year lease on life based on our technology. And this is technology that applies to any type of infrastructure. And nobody has more infrastructure worldwide than our U.S. military. We've worked with 300 customers across 26 states and proudly at 13 military bases. With an eye on the future, we're already testing and aligning with development partners with an eye on future IP. And our path to market is proven with strong sales. So we're going to simply scale by doing more of what's working right now, and we're going to do it bigger, and we're going to do it better. Since I bootstrapped this effort, I began with UAS and data collection to create early revenue. We successfully added AI in 2020, and now our IP and subscription software will add monthly recurring revenue. We are debt-free and undiluted with an annual profit since our inception. I'm very proud of our team. As our CEO, I have 30 years of building technology, infrastructure, business leadership, and UAS success. I'm a pilot myself. We have PhD patent holders. One, our original founding advisor, Lee Lau, built a $5.4 billion company and sold it in an exit, and he is advising us on our fundraising right now. We have a team of top PhDs from optics to AI, sensors, government operations, and energy infrastructure. We have an aggressive staffing plan. We're actively recruiting right now, and I'm lecturing at universities statewide, even outside the state by Zoom. Personally, we're underway with funding negotiations with one university, and we provide job training for students, veterans, and we provide regular STEM outreach. With 34% profit realized, our trajectory could take us to 2.5 million by 26-27. But here's why we think that's being very conservative. New York City, previously closed to drones, just opened this month, and we played a vital role in this. Over 9,000 buildings are scaffolded in New York City right now. If you've been there, you've walked through a shed. We calculated with officials there that we could put an office in New York City for drones, 40 employees between Rome and Syracuse, and we would have work for 12 to 15 years. It's a problem we're not digging out of soon. And the government knows this. The recent infrastructure bill is the biggest in history, and it has an allocation for exactly what we do. We're already tapped into it, and we're working in these areas. A drone contract was released this year for $50 million, and they're just going to grow from here. Those three growth factors and a funding boost today substantially change our outlook. Through 2 high-growth wins and a silver sitter based on our CRADA, we have a roadmap to the future that could take us to a $20 million revenue. We're working locally, and here's our roadmap to work with AFR, RL, to take our work with the DoD to go worldwide. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Let's see, where do I start? So, since you already said you are profitable, what does that mean? How much revenue have you taken in? How long did it take to get there?
Yes, so in our first year, we started late in the year. We started in September, and we had $7,000 revenue, which is okay for a startup because there's still teams 5 years in that have 0 revenue. So we went from 7 to 44, 77 into 6 figures. We have annual doubling. That's bootstrapped, as I mentioned. And if I can add to that, because it's very important, the one project you saw that we did in 3 days, that was a model that we rolled out on the premise that we knew we could hit a $10,000 a day income per person doing this. And on that project, we hit $8,000 per person on that project. Took a little bit of extra time, but we would have hit the mark. We would have exceeded $10,000 a day in revenue on that per person.
So since you also mentioned that you bootstrapped, would you consider an equity investment, and what would it take for someone to invest in you?
Yeah, interesting question. So fortunately, I'm not digging, I get asked. The great thing about this is we want a great team that's aligned with what our values are. So I've mentioned one of our advisors, multi-billionaire. We've talked with him about investment, and we actually have that strategy coming up. I've been talking to folks here at the AFRL about it in GI, and we're planning win, lose, or draw here. We're moving right into funding in September. So what that's going to take is the right people on board that believe, like we do, in what we're doing. And we're certainly looking to give up equity to grow.
So just to piggyback on what Brad said, so could you just articulate what makes this a venture-backable business versus a lifestyle business, and how you will have a return for your investors?
Sure, yeah, great point. So it would be hard to go back to that slide probably, but our proprietary piece in this is AI, which it's interesting because we started out in drones and collection to create revenue. I was bootstrapped, so I needed revenue immediately. The investable piece of this is the AI that we actually already have had a pre-read on it, and we're supposed to go into patent pending or patent status in September.
And so just a quick follow-on on that. Does that technology that could be patentable, are you planning on having that applied in other, are you going to sell that to people, or are you going to use that in this service-based model that you put out here?
Yes, super question. Actually, we've been asked if we could break pieces off of what we're doing right now and market that and have that piece be acquirable or even a revenue creator. And you saw how I formed the business. I'm all for that. I divided the business into market segments so that we could have revenue from multiple segments. So I'm certainly on board with that as long as it didn't jeopardize the overall picture of what we're going to create.
With this win, lose, or draw moving ahead, what are you going to do with the money you received tonight if you win an award to move the company further?
Yeah, great question. So again, the incremental plan that we have, the other pieces, those increments of the plan are working. They make money. The money is going to help us on the marketing plan to do more of what we've done that works. If we get out and we demo this and we do conferences, that's a huge return from us. Often 5 to 6 times we get 5 to 6 clients out of each of those at one single event. What happens with that is about 5 of those we have retention and long-term retention on. They're clients that come back over and over. So these are engineers, architecture firms. Florida Power and Light is a client. NextEra Energy. As a pivot at COVID, we pivoted to energy. Immediately, we sold within 1 week a contract to NextEra Energy and Florida Power and Light. We were doing renewable energy because buildings closed off to us.
What do these contracts look like? Are you in the field with your partner?
I have been, yeah. So every job that we have or that I'll ever offer to anybody, I've done myself at the company. Some of those contracts, we can't work. I can't be one guy with some advisors and work all across the nation in 26 states. Some of that work goes out. The more of it we pull in-house, the closer we get to that revenue per individual.
All right, Gavin, you got one quick question from Blast.
Okay.
So I saw one of the images had thermo. You talked a lot about micro-level data and imaging. What exactly is the data that you're looking at with the infrastructure? Are you looking for fractures? Like, data's kind of vague.
Yeah. So John said I would get this question. I can't give up everything because we have some IP involved. But there's hundreds of companies trying to do this across the nation. There's even hundreds of AI that's out there that will, if you scan a building, if you collect a photo, it'll find a blemish. My scientists are people that we sell this to. They want to know, anyone can tell them there's a crack in a pavement, there's a blemish on a building. We're looking deeper into the data. We tell them when a crack is a crack, or a crack has moisture in it, or a crack has organic matter in it, which is going to make that more of a priority for them more immediately. So you're seeing buildings collapse. We're seeing fires created by infrastructure that failed and fell into brush. We're going to see more of that. We tell what the crack is. Our AI is spotting. Again, can't give up too much, but yeah. So we're looking at, first we're finding anomalies. We tell the customers there's an anomaly there. We prioritize that information coming out of the AI so they know they've got something immediate to look at. They can then examine that other data for less important issues.
Thank you, Gavin.
Thank you.
Excellent job, Gavin. Thank you. Next up, we have Loom. Where is Elida Samigo, who's ready to pitch for Loom? There she is. Come on,
Hello.
Elida.
Okay.
There you go. Okay. Big round of applause for Loom, please.
Thank you. Good luck. Thanks. Hi, everyone. I'm Elida, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Loom. And today I'm going to talk about how we're leveraging our light-lace sensors and AI to measure human performance with unseen millisecond precision. So within the DoD, one thing we noticed is that soldiers, just like professional athletes, have to go under strenuous training. This can result in injuries as well as days lost, which is a huge financial burden for the DoD. And it's currently not possible to capture both biometrics as well as blast over pressure simultaneously through a modular form factor that can be worn in both mission and training. How we do this is light lace. So what is light lace? Light lace is a soft and stretchable fiber optic sensor that can easily be integrated into textiles to measure human performance metrics. It's extremely durable. It can last up to tens of thousands of cycles, over 325% strain. And what it does differently is it can sample at rates really high, for example, up to 1 megahertz. This means 1 million samples per second, and it's really important for measuring fast events such as blast overpressure. We've also tested our devices under adverse conditions like high G, high altitude, as well as washer. So what do we do with these sensors? We integrate them into textiles, our first product being the chest strap. We call this Loom. And surprise, I've been wearing this whole time. So I'm going to briefly show you what the data looks like, but the chest strap I'm wearing over my shirt, it is measuring my respiration, my heart rate, as well as my exertion zones. And if I were a soldier exposed to blast, it would also capture that. What you're seeing here is also the pattern of my breathing. So if I do this, hopefully you'd be able to see that big jump. That was my big breath. But in addition to our app, we also are working on an ATAC plugin. Here's a video from that. So this is displaying one of our engineers walking his dog, and if you look at that red part over there, it's his vitals changing in real time. So as you've seen, it's no skin contact, and in addition to heart rate, we're doing respiratory metrics with the goal of offering an instantaneous fatigue and recovery score, as well as help the DoD build a biometric response database for blast. We're doing this not just by our fibers, our light lace fibers, but also leveraging our algorithms, which we call SCIBR, System for Continuous Improvement of Biometric Estimation Routines. Again, by leveraging these machine learning algorithms and our sensors, we're able to accurately capture cardiorespiratory metrics. What makes us different is we can sample at really high rates through various form factors. This allows us to capture not only heart rate, but the waveforms of each respiration, heart rate, and also blast overpressure, and at a much more affordable cost point. We think this is really important for the DoD because as you see, soldiers are getting hurt. It's causing a lot of money to DoD, and the attrition rates as well as physical fitness test failure rates are increasing. Similar case in the civilian market. These are just numbers for the market size, where professional teams are losing hundreds of millions of dollars. We'll be following a dual-use business model, tier-based model, starting with professional athletes as well as special operators, and eventually reaching every airman, sailor, and soldier. We'll be offering a subscription model for the civilian market, but for the DoD, we'll be doing one-time fee only. We are able to do this thanks to our amazing team with experts from Harvard, Cornell, MIT, and more. We also have 3 patents we're licensing from Cornell, 4 filed by our company, and have plans to file 5 more. Since our founding, we have accomplished a lot. We have won various SBIRs and STTRs from the Army, Air Force, NSF. We have piloted our solution with a Major League Baseball team. We have won awards from the NFL. And this year we'll be focusing on commercializing our sensor and the strap, and also generating more revenue. Well, how we're going to do this, so hopefully by winning this program, we'll be able to open up our manufacturing facility so we can meet the demands of 10,000 straps by the end of 2024. We will be hiring 3 local engineers to do this with us, and we're also going to work on improving our cyber security. And with 5 seconds left and out of breath, even though I use our device, I'm done.
So do you already have orders for 10,000 straps?
No, these are our projections. We have sold 35 units. We're planning on 200 by the end of the year, but next year our goal is 10,000.
And you had a comparison slide throughout the entire presentation. I was wondering, I have an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
How is this different? So how would a consumer like me find those additional features valuable?
It's more of a complementary than actually a competitor, because we're not expecting you to wear this all day versus you wear your Apple Watch all day. But you can't get your breathing waveform from your Apple Watch. You would get your respiration rate, which gives you some information, but not all of the information if you're looking for instantaneous fatigue and recovery. So if you're working out, let's say doing different sets of different exercises, your respiration rate or your heart rate is not going to be enough to tell you how many seconds you need to take in between each set so that you are at your optimal performance level. So ours is more like these really strenuous situations when you need to look at instantaneous scores.
You said that the military has a lot of soldiers that are injured, right? And that this would help help solve the problem of the reduction of cost of that. So what are the number, maybe 1, 2, 3 injuries that a soldier has, and how would this help prevent it?
Majority of the injuries are musculoskeletal injuries. I don't have the breakdown of which muscles first. I think they're mostly lower and then lower body and then upper body next. And what we want to do with our solution is both track people at all times, not just training, but training and mission. So help decision makers say this person needs to be pulled out because their breathing metrics or their motion is being different than when they're at their optimal performance. And eventually there will be enough data for us to actually say that instead of relying on that decision maker. So eventually we want to say that, but for now we expect decision makers to look and say, person X is different today, they need to rest more. And that way they would be less likely to get injured.
It's a really good answer, and I'm really glad I asked.
Thank you.
Thank you. So what really interests me about this is the overpressure sensors and monitoring. So I do know of a competitor you didn't see on, or I didn't see on your slides called Black Box Biometrics.
Yeah.
Okay.
From
so
RIT,
yeah.
or University of Rochester, one of them.
One of the two. What is the difference between your technology and theirs, and how is yours better?
So they are focused on measuring blasts. We measure biometrics, but we also act as a blast gauge. So ours is not just a blast gauge nor just a biometric sensor. Ours is a combination of both. And we're going to start doing some advanced blast simulator tests with the Army soon. So we'd be able to actually compare our numbers to B3 sensors too. So I don't have numbers for that, but the main difference being they're a blast gauge, we're a blast gauge plus biometric sensor.
So you have here that you're intending to do a cybersecurity assessment. Have you already looked at integrating cyber in your actual development of the software and the system itself, or are you waiting to find out what your assessment tells you?
We've been cognizant about what we do and how we handle the data, but we know the requirements of the Air Force and DoD is going to be much more than what we can do right now. So we're about to sign that CRADA with the IoT Living Labs and IFRL, and we expect to have an answer from their assessment. But we haven't done anything private in addition to that yet.
So aside from assessments, though, have you been compliant, or have you looked at any industry standards aside? Because what the Air Force uses, I mean, a lot of what we have is based on industry standards. So have you looked at that?
We have briefly looked into anonymizing the data as well as some of the consumer level protections, but not in very detail.
We've used the devices in centrifuge testing at AFRL and passed whatever requirement they needed with our partner there.
Okay, thank you.
Where's your mic?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice job, Loom. Okay, last but not least, before the judges head out to deliberate, the man with the plan, Kaylin Patterson from Patterson Aerospace Systems. Come on up, Kaylin. Big round of applause for Kaylin.
Yes, sir. It's a good picture. Ready? Space, the final frontier, is filled with hundreds of millions of tiny objects the size of bullets that are just as dangerous to both manned and unmanned missions. The problem is the way that we track these objects is extremely insufficient. It's human-dependent, ineffective, cost-intensive, and highly latent. It takes up to a week between detecting a threat and deciding if to move out of the way. So we're solving this in two ways. First, an onboard real-time collision avoidance module and a software platform that integrates both ground and space-based data in a trustworthy AI-enabled blockchain. So say you're a forward-thinking space company and you have our technologies on board. Well, as a threat approaches your satellite, our sensors detect it and make a decision to move out of the way in minutes or less, then allowing us to let other operators know that there's a threat in the area. The current market for this kind of technology is $0.9 billion and expected to increase to $1.5 billion within the decade. And at the average annual revenue loss of $100 million to $230 million per year due to threat avoidance, and the expected increase in new satellites launched per year by 2,500 new satellites until 2030, we know a lot of folks will be interested in paying for this. And we know that because we did customer discovery. So we've attracted a beta customer. We're working on a CRADA as well as the licensing of a technology from the Air Force Research Lab across the street. And we have also applied for SBIRs. We're hoping that next year, once those go into effect, we'll be able to do an in-space demo and put our systems online, and then use that traction to go to phase 2, identify government customers, and attract new commercial customers. We price this in 3 ways. First is a one-time outfitting of your satellite with our technology, allowing it to have its own collision avoidance. Then an intelligence package that gives you all the SDA data, space domain awareness, of your satellite at a monthly fee. And lastly, a combination of the two that's good for both government and constellation operators. There are a lot of competitors in this space, and they're providing great visuals of this data and even trying to do in-space tracking, but they're not getting to the issue, which is how we remove that time between decision and detection. Before we got to Griffiths, we got a small grant that allowed us to develop our MVPs. Then we attracted our beta customer through the ICOR program. Next week, we start the Ensign Forge program that advances our technology further. And in September, I'll be on that plane testing our technology in microgravity. As I mentioned, we're working closely with the Information Directorate to do some licensing. We've also been talking to local partners like AIS and SUNY Poly to advance our technologies further and create new high-paying jobs in this region within the next 5 years. We have a powerful team with experience in space domain awareness, project management, cybersecurity, AI, and machine learning, both for government and tech industry. And our advisory board has decades of experience in space-related business and technology development on an international scale. We're raising $500K this year, most of which will go towards our R&D, but we expect to turn our first profit within the next 6 years. So what's next for us? Raise that $500K, move our operations here to Rome and really partner with this city, win the Ensign Forge program, and have our in-space demo by the end of 2024. My family really enjoyed their time here, and we're hoping to really seriously move our operations here. My wife is already looking for a house. Thank you for your time.
The market size seems small for the problem. So is this a growing problem? Is it a shrinking problem? Why are we not spending more money solving this problem right now?
I wish I had that answer, but I do. So the problem is that we've known about this issue since the 70s. We just didn't take it seriously. We didn't realize how important it was, because it reduces our impact, our ability to go to space. So recently, there's been a lot of push, more on the global front than in the US, to try to get more technologies involved in this. It started off with Japan and Europe with 2 companies that were trying to do active removal. The US recently got involved, and now you're seeing a lot more push with the SBIRs towards space domain awareness related technologies. So it is growing, as you mentioned, but yeah, we have a lot of work to do here on the ground.
You touched on this, but I didn't hear you properly. But what's the current solution, and what does your product solve?
Okay, so what's currently available and what's my product? Okay, so currently we have a government-enabled technology that does a lot of the tracking using ground-based radar. Our solution is optimizing the data that comes in through there. So there's an issue with how we do that manually, and there's also always that issue of, hey, this looks like something familiar, but I'm not sure. And also, that looks like it might hit something in a few weeks, but I can't tell you. We're applying machine learning and AI to make sure that that's streamlined and to reduce that error in that detection and decision making. On the other side, we're providing in-space detection, which allows us to track those really tiny objects that can't be seen from the ground-based radar. So, yeah.
And then there's still a manual manipulation that would need to happen once that...
There's not a need for, but there's definitely always a trust question when it comes to letting things think for themselves, especially in space, Skynet, for example. So yes, we are allowing that space-based, that human interaction into the technology as well. Yeah.
So you said something about you're tracking using the ground-based and the space-based detection methodologies. And then I'm guessing there's some kind of tracking network, as you said you're sharing among various satellite providers or satellite owners.
Yes.
Are you then, you're enabling their decisions, they still have to do the movements and do the manual or automatic changes in their orbits themselves? I'm guessing you're not influencing that per se, but you're just maintaining tracks in space for all the debris you see?
Right, so there are two parts to our solution. One is because there are already satellites in orbit. They can't be retrofitted with what we have, not yet anyway. So that's why we have the software. The software will be able to push out that data to those operators. Hey, there's something in the nearby, and it's going to hit you in a few days or a few minutes. You need to move out of the way. On the other side, for future satellites, that's why we developed the hardware. That hardware allows your satellite to do that decision on its own, and that's important to do it on its own because there are times when you're not connected to a downlink. There's times when your operator might be asleep at the wheel. So there's a definite need for that satellite to be able to make that maneuver on its own.
I know the space delay is a big issue, getting from ground to space to
Yes.
do that redirection. So
Exactly.
that's good. Thank you.
Yep.
So I know you talked about the market size a little bit, but I may have missed it. Did you quantify like the downstream negative impacts from all the debris in space?
Yeah, so the current annual revenue loss is between 100 to 230 million due to threat, so anything to do with threats, whether it's actually getting hit and having to replace that satellite all the way down to, actually doing the detection or, stuff along those lines. So.
What about the downstream impacts from satellites that are in orbit that are no longer useful?
Okay.
What about that kind of downstream impacts? Does that build your market size?
Yeah, that would increase our market size. I have not looked too much into that, but I do know that there are companies that are looking into actual removing those things that can be moved and actually working on those technologies as well.
Thanks.
Yep.
Your price point of $85K for the hardware seems low to me. How did you come to that price point?
So if you think about it, every satellite that you have to outfit for a large constellation operator like Space Force, for example, they're trying to launch something like 20,000 satellites. $85K per satellite is a lot. And then on the other side, we're also looking at how the cost of our technologies, the impact that will have in terms of their savings and their ability to do more with their capabilities. So that's how we got to that number. It's not a final number, but it's a number that we're constantly working on.
Thank you, Caleb.
Thank you.
Well done. All right. How about one final round of applause for all the teams that did such a beautiful job? Now, before I send the judges off to do your thing, since Kalen brought up his children, I'm going to do the same thing. So my kids were supposed to be here tonight. They're 9, 10, and 13. But we discovered, like working mothers do, yesterday that my daughter had a marching band competition tonight. And they had to be there. But they had picked out, we talked about all the teams and all the technologies, and I challenged them to explain back to me what each team was doing. And so when we talked about Loom, we had a big conversation about what is biometric data. And I tried to, in my way, to explain it to them. And my son, who's 9, said, "That's like the mood ring I got at the Cooperstown Farmers Museum." And I was like, "It totally is." And so I wore, I said ring. It's actually a bracelet. So I'm wearing the mood bracelet for that purpose. And then the other part, we talked about blockchain, and we talked about space. And I'm wearing a 13-year-old's metal belt right now that has moons and stars on it to represent my daughter, which is a terribly uncomfortable proposition when you're sitting in a 13-year-old's belt for a really long period of time. The teams did a beautiful job. Thank you to the judges. As a reminder, here's what's going to happen now. There's $450,000 in cash in the hands of the people
who are sitting right here, and they are going to leave the room. They are going to deliberate against a set of criteria that we have provided to them and decide who is going to take home what portions of that funding tonight. So they have absolute discretion to make those decisions. They're going to come back, give us their recommendations, and then we're going to announce in probably about 20 minutes what's going to happen from there. So right now, we're going to break for a few minutes. We're going to head out, have a cocktail, have something to eat, let the judges do their thing, and then we'll be back in here to hear from one of our alums and make our decision. I'll see you then.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. I hope everyone had an opportunity to have some Savi B. That's what I had. And something to eat. Earlier this evening, I made a point to acknowledge several people in the audience, dignitaries, folks who came to welcome, people from our board, people from our organization and partner organizations. But there is a couple folks in the room there are a few folks in the room that I failed to recognize, actually, and those are our alums, our Hustle alumni from last year. And so one of the things that I think is cool, we mentioned at the outset, right, this is only our second year of running this program, and a lot has changed over the past year, but we have stayed connected with every single one of the teams that have come through the program along the way, and several of them are here tonight. I saw Steve from Neuromorphic Intelligent Computing someplace. I saw Abu from Sequins. Of course, CyberSpar, there he is. Hello, you're hiding. I see you. Of course, CyberSpar is here again. And our winner, our big first prize winner from last year, Thermo AI. And so for the teams who are competing tonight, the judges are just wrapping up their deliberations. They're going to come in and deliver the decision. But before they do that, we think it's really important that you take a minute to hear from the winning team from last year. And so Aiden Livingston from Thermo AI, our winner from last year, is going to talk a little bit about his journey. And the teams who are here tonight should know that win, lose, or draw, no matter what happens with the investment that you receive or don't receive tonight, the Hustle team, the Griffiths Institute team, the team from AFRL, from Nice Tech, from Nice Star, everybody who collaborates and contributes to this program are with you to help you to be successful along the way. So I'm going to pass to Aiden while we wait for the judges to come back to talk for a few minutes about his journey with Thermo AI since leaving Hustle last year, and then we'll welcome the judges back, and then there will be some large checks being presented. So please welcome my good friend and colleague and Hustle winner of last year, Aiden Livingston from Thermo. Do you want mine?
All right, that seems better. So as the winner of last year, I would like to start by saying I'm very glad we went last year. Wow, that is a tough call. I don't even know if I could say the top four right now. The team did a great job. All the teams did amazing. I'm blown away. Yeah, this is just wonderful to see this program continue to grow. And it truly is a testament to everybody that makes this such a great and wonderful community. And we're honored to be back and to be part of this. And so now is like oh my God, I didn't expect to win. So unexpected. Just so I stay on topic here. Yeah, so a little bit about what we do with Thermo AI. So we do combustion optimization, artificial intelligence. And so our journey started back in 2018. When I met Carolina Chavez, who's the chemical engineer, and learned about her work and how to use, basically dynamic set points so that you can increase efficiency in combustion optimization. And until that time, I had no idea that they're mainly using tables and top-down hierarchy. It was extremely inefficient. I was like, wow, that sounds like a really good use case for machine learning. So I pitched the idea to David Watson, who's our CTO. I was like, I think this would be a great value opportunity. And then we got into our first program in Santiago de Chile. And we went down there, they connected us with our first power plant, so we got data, and we were able to actually prove out that the thing actually works, which was exciting. And then from that, we got into the first ever Techstars AI program in Montreal. And that got us connected with Amazon, Google, and top AI experts to really refine and build out the product. And then finally, we were the winners of 76 West, which is a $1 million prize for clean energy. And that's what brought us upstate New York. And around that time, I really started to get a sense. I was like, I feel like there's definitely some good defense applications for what we're doing, but I know absolutely nothing about that. So I started asking everybody in the network, who should I talk to? Who can help guide us towards this? And everybody brought up Heather, obviously. So I remember the first time I talked to Heather, and she's just great, right? The first time we're talking about, what was your handle, like Rage Against the Machine? Beautiful pun. So I was like, automatically, she was great. And she's like, well, I think you guys would be really good for this program. So here's the thing, though, right? So this is like 2020 at this point, or 2021. We had been in like 5 programs. And I'm like, I feel like we are fully accelerated, right? If we were a chicken, if we're an egg, we're beyond incubation. This is a full-grown chicken. We don't need any more acceleration. So like, is there just a way we could kind of passively, and like, she's like, no, we really want to make this a community. We want people to make the commitment. And I was like, but this is the thing, I feel like we know this stuff. And I always remember she said to me, she's like, look, obviously you know your business very well, but do you know your business in relation to government? I was like, wow, you were right. And she was. And it's like, and then we ended up joining the program. We came in full force, and we're here the whole time. And it really was. It's one of those things. It was actually a good lesson in humility of being like, you know what? There's always more to learn. We learned so much from Dan's do's and don'ts, from Liddy, from Seth, from everybody in the program. And even the things that I thought I knew, hearing it from new, fresh eyes and different perspectives was such a game changer. And so to give you a sense of how much it really has changed, we had submitted a Air Force SBIR grant before, which was rejected. I think we'd actually submitted twice and were rejected twice. Since being in the program, we have gotten 2 phase 1s, and we just found out a couple weeks ago that we got our second phase 2, and that's $1.2 million of non-dilutive funding for us doing a project right here in Rome, where we're going to be monitoring the chiller for the quantum lab. And that all came out of this. And that we're actually looking at another project now. We got connected with a group out of Ohio, and they have a fuel system simulator that they want us to kind of do a digital twin, and how can we use sustainable fuel within airlines. And all of that came from our experience here. And Heather's totally right. This is not like just in the program. These are people who are still allies and still really believe in us and are still making connections and really opening doors. So this has been such a game change. I mean, honestly, it's already been worth $1.5 million to us in the last year alone. And it reminds me, so now, you know, things start going well. People are like, hey, I want to talk to you. Hey, can I buy you coffee? Get your opinion on these things? And then some people want to get into this as well. And they're like, oh, I've seen the success. I would love to learn more about it. Well, how do I do this? Well, you got to learn all the acronyms. Oh my God, the acronyms alone. And it's like, oh, and then you got to learn like the structure, who are the people, who are the influencers. And at a certain point, I was talking to somebody recently, and I was like, you know what, you just got to join the Hustle program. There's really no substitute for getting that hands-on 3-month experience. And I think hearing about how this is growing, I mean, we were, what, 4 or 5 teams, and now it's at 8. And now we're talking potentially about doing other things more around the year. It's amazing. And this is exactly what we need, to be bringing the best minds into working with the Department of Defense to really get those synergies going on. And I personally am so proud to be an alumni and be a part of this amazing community. And I cannot wait to see who actually won this thing. So without further ado, what do you guys say? All right, thank you all very much.
I'll just use them both. All right. So this is like the Academy Awards. I don't even know what the check says. I don't know who it is. It's so exciting. We got to put him back there. And I think I'm going to welcome a couple folks up to help me deliver this check. Yeah, so Dr. Haydick, do you want to come and join representing the Air Force Research Laboratory to deliver the decision? We ready? We got 2 of them? Can I see who they are? Oh, okay. Oh, there's many. All right, give us 1 second to coordinate. It's a truly Academy Award style. So what? This is a really interesting twist. Jeez, sorry. Very interesting twist. There are 5 awards being made tonight. 5 giant checks being made. So we're going to start. I have no idea what this first one is going to say. Dr. Haydick, you're going to help me. Pam's going to flip it over, and you're going to grab it. Are you ready? All right, and the first one is Drone City, $50,000. Come stand with your giant check. Congratulations. Hold on, there's so many things. Congratulations. Here you go. Hold on to that. Is this where you want us? Are we doing the right things? Okay. Congratulations, Drone City. Enjoy. Welcome to the Mohawk Valley. Ready for number 2? Okay, number 2. Accessible automation! 50,000! Where are they? Amy and Greg! I get way too excited. Congratulations, Amy and Greg. This is wonderful. Congratulations. Yeah. I want you to program my partner to stop turning the air conditioning on when I'm cold. Can you do that? Because he drives me crazy. Okay. Congratulations, Accessible Automation. Awesome. Now we're what? Next one. Oh. Okay. You ready? Next one. Boston QSA, $100,000. Congratulations, Abhishek.
Guess we're really doing great.
I know. Go in, guys. Thank you, Kelly. Congratulations. Okay. Next one. Ready, Pam? Patterson Aerospace Systems, the man with the plan. Congratulations.
I don't get a hug like that.
Yeah.
It's okay.
All right. The man with the plan. That's going to wrap up our program for tonight. I want to say thank you again from where we started. It takes an absolute village to carry off programming like this, to help these teams to be successful, to encourage them to build their ventures, to start strong and grow healthy here in the Mohawk Valley. That only happens with all of you and dozens of others who are not in this room tonight. So thank you, everybody, for being a part of this journey. And now, please help us help these teams kick some butt as they stand up their operations here in the Mohawk Valley. Have an awesome night. Drive carefully. Thank you, and good night.